Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be hearing the ducks in the background because it's first thing in the morning and I fed them in the middle of the night and they want to eat again. And they're not going to eat until I feel like it. It's 30 degrees outside right now. 30 degrees outside right now. This is May the 13th. This is the way the temperatures were when I first got here. Something ain't right. Global warming is okay. I wanted to point out something. Hey, Bill Thornton, where you at? Hold on now. Yeah, I got it. There he is right there, Bill Thornton. Okay, 1512.org. Oh, you know what? I messed up his website. Oh, God, Bill, I apologize. I think it's 1251.org. Hold on. 1251.org. Bill Thornton. And Bill Thornton put out a lot of information to help people. And I have the wrong site, ladies and gentlemen. 5151. Nope. Ah, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm upset with myself. It's 12. I thought it was 1251.org. Give me a second. I said, stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, I said 1215. It's 1215.org, not 1251. See, I transpose numbers. Bill Thornton. Okay. A lot of respect for Bill Thornton. I never met Bill, but I know a Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been to Bill's website, and many of you have not, tons of information. The same as the Family Guardian. The gentleman who started the Family Guardian, he and I have been in conversation on several occasions. Then you got what? Family Guardian and what's the other one? Uh, Freedom Law School. Those of y'all who want to do research, these are the sites that you should be going to because these are the gentlemen who go to the foundation. They'll tell you how something got started. Now, no. Some of the stuff we have been able to, what do you call, not improve, but we've been able to update some of the information. So you have to check on the information's validity today. But these are sites. So you have 1215.org. Now let's do it again. Wake up, freedom law school. Family Guardian, backspace. Stop listening. Tons of documents, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're dealing with taxes. Okay, hold on now. I assure you one thing. Um, and you see, they are scriptural. Hey, I don't agree with everything. I'm just pointing out to you all that, especially on taxation, if you want to understand taxation. See, I keep telling you guys to do your own research, but many of you are watching videos thinking that that's research. Hold on. The only reason why I'm telling you this morning, yes, I know the ducks are behind me making all that noise because I'm doing it to them because I told them y'all not gonna run me. This is my house. Y'all ain't gonna control me, and they trying to control me. They trying to get control of my brain. Anyway, uh, ladies and gentlemen, I have to show you. Oh, that's right. I don't know how I lost it. Give me a second. I got to get back to YouTube because that's the thing. YouTube. There is a young man, David Hinkson. Wake up, David Hinkson. Backspace. Stop listening. This is David, ladies and gentlemen. David taught himself. He just started doing his own investigation before there was YouTube, you know, before there was all this video stuff. Okay? I like David. David, he is fundamental. He tells you the things he's done. He's just tested things out. That's David. I have respect for David. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is David Young. Spoken to David Young at least once. I appreciate David Young. See, what I'm trying to do is let you know, you guys keep talking about gurus and these people that you're following. I'm naming the people who've been around, who've been doing this, who've been pointing this stuff out to you. Stop watching videos, ladies and gentlemen. Stop watching these intelligent people tell you what is and what isn't. Go back and listen to these individuals who were there first. I'm going to talk about one young man who I had a lot of respect for. And give me a second while I find his video. Many of you don't know about Jerry Kane. Okay? Jerry Kane was killed. And I do believe it was a targeting because when they pulled him over, they took him to the back of the police car out of the view of his son. His son saw them assaulting his father, and his son shot at least one of the police officers. Dead. Jerry Kane wasn't a violent man. Jerry Kane was just tired and explaining to people what their rights are. Jerry Kane, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jerry. Okay? And I a lot of respect for Jerry. Never met Jerry, but I know people who did meet Jerry who knew him personally. A lot of respect for Jerry. See, it ain't about me. It ain't about the stuff I teach. I don't teach anything. I don't do classes. I'm not a teacher. Well, as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I am a teacher. But I'm not a teacher of this information. I'm just talking on video. Go back and listen. It's just when I talk, people gather information. They're able to put pieces of puzzles together that they had seen before. Okay, happy, happy, joy, joy. But if you're going to do research, hey, y'all cut that noise out. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. Okay, sorry. The one you're hearing, the loud one right there, that's the that's the one that I've had the battle with because it's loud on purpose and it will get its way. Eventually it's telling me, "Oh no, you're going to get off of that stupid computer and you're going to come over here and take care of us." I want to put them outside today. I mean, I've only had them for almost 2 weeks, but they need to go. I need my living room back. But we were 30 degrees this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just went outside and checked the thermometer that I have outside. And it's a large thermometer, but I wanted to walk up close because I couldn't believe it. Okay? Every other year, with the exception of this one, we haven't been 30 degrees in the morning. We've been in the high 40s, 50s this time of morning. But not this year. Oh, God, we've had at least just in the month of May, and it's only 13 days, we've had at least 5 days, at least 30 degrees or 35 degrees. That's not normal. The last 3 years, we haven't been nowhere near no stupid 30 degrees, but we have been lately. You gotta love it. You see how I told you that one? That's all it does, is that. So they're going outside. Let me get back to the conversation. I mentioned to some of you that my dog, Griff, was bitten by a rattlesnake. And Griff, and I suspected it was a rattlesnake. The following morning, we found a rattlesnake and he died. He gone. He ain't no more. He decided to depart with his body. and with the world. Um, and then he was eaten by individuals who love rattlesnakes. Okay? I've never had snake, don't want snake, ain't thinking about snake. Man, better go call Jake. You know what I'm saying? So, Griff is doing okay. He's now back to running and playing and no more swelling around the neck. The Benadryl worked. I want y'all to understand the Benadryl worked. People say give them Benadryl. I had some antihistamines here. I gave them the antihistamines. They worked. Yay! So Griff is now running around with Eve and they're both playing and happy. I'm glad because I didn't feel like I had two injured animals at the same time and I didn't feel like going through that. And I'm having second thoughts about having all of these animals. I really am. But I got to endure because that's what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to endure. Just that simple. On this planet, our job is to endure. And as long as we endure, man, everybody's happy. So, as I mentioned to you, Jerry Kane, give me a second.
Patriarch. The patriarch. He's the leader of the group of slaves.
So what do you do in the case of your right to protect yourself and you want to carry a firearm? You have to fill out these, well, at least in California, you got to fill these forms out.
Draw.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jerry was he was okay. I look. I don't agree with everything everybody says and does. I don't have to. Neither do you. It's the information. Now, hold on. I'm not agreeing with every bit and piece of information out there. You need to be well versed. For instance, Mr. David Hinkson, what the young man said, and he simply said when he got a letter, a W-2 form, he put on there forced to sign. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you to write void on your tickets. Hey, by all means, put forced to sign on your tickets. I still say put void, but forced to sign on court documents, forced to appear, forced to plead. I don't mind y'all doing that. I promise you, if you don't understand the genius of that, that came from David Hinkson. No, hold on now. He didn't say those things. Because he said that, I was able to deduce, man, you can stop a court case by saying, I am here by forced appearance. I am here because someone has forced me to appear in lieu of my freedom. They told me if I did not appear here in this court and surrender to the court's jurisdiction, that they would harm me, that they are going to subject me involuntarily to the court's jurisdiction. And I don't consent, I don't agree, but they are forcing me to be here. Put that on the record and see how things turn out. Don't give a full speech, but just give a speech because you have the right to speak and say, do not interrupt me while I'm speaking. You don't want me interrupting you while you're speaking, and no, you're not going to dictate what I get to speak about. What I had to say is wholly relevant. You don't get to stop me when I'm saying something relevant on and for the record because this matter is going to be up for review and you are going to be up for review. So shut up while I'm talking. You guys can't talk to them that way, but I give you my word. Those of you who have known me for long enough, especially while I was in New Mexico and I was at the junkyard. We call it a junkyard. They call it a wrecking yard. They call it a what do you call it? Dismantling yard. But anyway, it was a junkyard with cars. And ladies and gentlemen, I am taking off parts on a car while I am doing a court hearing. Okay, and the judge yells at me and tells me, if you, I will hold you in contempt. And I did the same thing. Oh, I apologize to the court. But look, as I told you, and I'm letting them know what I think. I told you I talked for another 15 minutes straight. You want to talk and put things on the record? I'm going to talk and put things on the record. He ruled against me. I think he fined me like $20,000 or something. I ain't never paid that junk. That junk ain't never appeared on my credit. Ain't never appeared nowhere. I ain't never seen it, never heard from them idiots ever again. Why? Because they're veiled threats. Now you'll have some stupid judge out there going, I'll show you a veiled threat. And then I'll show you what I'm made of, idiot. They don't have more power than me, people. They don't have more power than you. And you don't even realize that. Now, David Hinkson explained something to you guys. Now, he said something that I've been telling you guys. Well, I've been telling people that since I discovered it in a stupid law. Okay? That there is a United States District Court and a District Court of the United States. Hold on, let me show it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I was doing research while I was on vacation the first time. I was doing research on writ of error coram nobis. And while I was doing research on a writ of error coram nobis, I found the statement where they suspended the writ of error coram nobis, only to finally realize they did not suspend the writ of error coram nobis, even though they say it in law that it's been suspended. It's been converted into an appeal. They don't have the authority to do that. Congress does not have the authority to take away your right to file writ. That's your right to petition. Well, we gave you another remedy. You don't get to give me a remedy. I get to tell you what the issue is, and I get to tell you what I'm seeking in the form of remedy. You don't get to dictate to me what my remedy is or is not. And that's basically what they have done. Whew, Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, many of you may not know, because I told them in 1940s Congress created an act that changed the name of the courts from the District Court of the United States or the for the United States, excuse me, for the United States and the Circuit Court of Appeals for the United States. Of and for has meaning. So I want y'all to pay attention for a second. I said to the United States District Court and the United States Circuit Court of Appeals, act of Congress was this. So it's supposed to be what act of Congress was this? Do not explain how they did it, why they did it. Just give me the answer to my question. You guys have to do that too when talking to ChatGPT because it will have diarrhea at the mouth. The act I am referring to is the act of June 5th, 1948. Now, you guys are June 25th, 1948. You may not know what act this is. This is the so-called Judiciary Act of 1948, where they changed everything, even codified it under Title 28. That's your Title 28. That's your federal district court. That's what they go by. Is this junk right here? Congress had no authority to create a new judicial act. Why? Because Congress has no authority over the judicial branch of government. It could not change anything, not without the vote of the people. Shh, don't tell nobody. Because people don't understand basic fundamentals of law. Watch this. Wake up. Wake up. Congress had no authority to interfere with the judicial branch of government. Congress had no authority to amend the Judicial Act without ratification from the people. Period. Only the people could amend the branches of government. Representative, exclamation mark. What was the exact quote of the act by Congress? And cite the precise section. Stop listening. Let's see. It's not going to give you the exact quote. Just understand that. It never does. In each judicial district, a district court, which shall be called the United States District Court for the district. Then there shall be in each circuit court of appeals, known as the United States Court of Appeals, for the circuit, blah, 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 the Circuit Court of Appeals of the United States. These provisions replace the prior terminology, District Court of the United States and Circuit Court of Appeals for the United States. The act was a full revision and codification of Title 28 of the United States Code, which recognized and renamed components of the federal judiciary without ratification by the people. The change in, I cannot see that, ladies and gentlemen. Nomenclature, I cannot see the word because the letters, the font, it's everything is blending in. Reflects the unilateral legislative revision. All of the letters, the M and the E and the N are blending in. The C, L, A, T are blending in because of the font. And I've been noticing that, and I'm probably going to change the font on my computer. The terminology I got because I just do TER. Okay, but the rest of it, the words are blending in. It's my fault because I'm 2 feet away from the screen. Well, you shouldn't be right up on the screen anyway. Excuse me. I'm 2 feet away from the screen because of the way my desk sits and the way I sit and the chair and the stand that I have the computer on. The computer could be right in front of me, but I need that space because I also use a mouse. So let me get back to the conversation if you don't mind. Well, I didn't interrupt you in the first place. You're the one who said you couldn't see, you stupid mother. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take care of him a little bit later so that he understands about interrupting me while I'm speaking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once the judicial branch was created, there's this thing known as separation of powers. Congress could not amend the Judicial Act. This is called the Judicial Act, ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not. It's called Title 28. Was a full revision and codification of Title 28. Wake up. Wait, are you telling me that Congress revised Title 28 and then codified Title 28? Question mark. That's impossible because Title 28 was never a law. Congress only creates acts. They don't create titles. Period. And the codification was never law, like you said, it was labeled Title 28, Congress never created an act called Title 28, go look. I guarantee you won't find it. Stop listening. You're correct in your foundational premise. I only deal with foundation. I told you all that from the very beginning. You go back to the foundation. That's where you start dissecting things. Congress enacts acts, not titles. What became known as Title 28 of the U.S. Code was never in itself acknowledged as an enactment, as a standalone statute called Title 28. This is the act, statute at large, the act to revise, codify, and enact into law Title 28 of the U.S. Code, entitled Judicial Code and Judiciary. Wake up. Are you telling me that Congress enacted into law something that they did not actually write, that did not pass both House and Senate floors? Question mark. Are you telling me that the president never signed off on Title 28? Question mark. Stop listening. This shows you that codes are not law. Here are the precise facts. Congress did not enact Title 28 as a title. Congress did not enact something called Title 28. Congress enacted the Judiciary Act of 1948. However, they couldn't because they were only codifying Title 28. So, was written by the House Committee of the Judiciary, prepared, wake up, you've lied, comma, Title 28 was not written by the House Committee of the Judiciary, comma, the U.S. Code Title 28 was written by the Office of Law Revision Counsel, comma, the enactment of adopting Title 28 as positive law was the bill that was put before Congress. But the original title was not put before Congress or enacted by Congress because there would have been no need to codify Title 28 because Congress would have already done it when they initially created it. Exclamation mark. The original Title 28 is not a statute at large. At large. Stop listening. You are correct. You are absolutely, positively, doodly boodly, coolly correct. Why? Because Congress didn't write it. The Law Revision Council wrote that junk. Title 28 was not originally written or enacted by Congress. The original content of what is now known and called Title 28 was never passed as a standalone statute by Congress. When it was first compiled, ladies and gentlemen, Congress, a bill has to be introduced to Congress, adopted by one of its members, or sponsored by one of its members. When that bill is introduced, then it is goes through committee, brought to the floor, read on the floor, voted on, adopted, then sent to the other house, voted on in the same process, and then the two houses takes their votes, say, hey, yay, we voted on this piece of junk. And then they send it to the president. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And Bill goes to the president and say, hey, fool. And there you go. Okay. And if the president vetoes it because it was disrespectful, then it don't go nowhere. Got to go back to Congress and they get to say, you weren't disrespectful. No, no, mama know exactly what's going. No, that bad man. So we gon' no, you pass. We gonna override his veto. How dare he speak to our child like that? And they override the veto. But if the president vetoes the bill and Congress found out that that bill was disrespectful, you know better. We sent you over there to do a job and you went over there and you disrespected that man in his house. No, go sit in that room over there and you're going to table you. You're going to sit on that table until we finish doing whatever it is we're doing. And it may take us some years, but you in timeout. And that's what they do to a bill. Now, if the president says, hey, you know what? You were a very disrespectful person before, but you come back before me and you are respectful, so I'm going to approve you. That's right, you're going to get a treat. And it becomes what they refer to as law. That's called an enactment. That's the judicial process when you want to sit up there and create a so called judiciary act. Nobody is challenging the stupid act. This is all your federal judges operating off of this. See? Passed by both houses, not as a title. Of course it wasn't. See? Was written by the House Committee of the Judiciary and prepared in cooperation with the Office of the Law Revision Council. It was not written by the House Committee. Now watch this. Wait, sorry. You are also a liar because it was not written by the House Committee on the Judiciary. It was written by the Law Revision Council. Exclamation mark. The House Committee is the one who sponsored the title code code comma, however, it did not go through the complete legislative process, period. Truman signed the adoption of the code. Truman did not sign the enactment of a law called Title 28 or a law called the Judiciary Act of 1948 or similar act, period. The judicial branch had already been created. To amend the judicial branch, comma, Congress had no authority because of separation of powers to amend the Judiciary Act or even the administrative branch of government, comma, Congress simply never received this authority. Period. The only way a constitutional amendment and or article could be amended and or changed is through ratification, whereby the people would have to have a say. And they couldn't just do this in committee. Stop listening, ladies and gentlemen. And you don't ever have to be alone. Oh, it's 6:34. Give me 1 second. See, that's my alarm. Love cast over and cast aside. I'm on my way. That's my alarm. I spent the hours. Anyway, Title 28 was drafted. Oh, hold on. Title 28 was drafted by the Office of the Law Revision Council, not Congress. I said that. Congress did not enact Title 28 as a freestanding bill. No, of course it didn't. Did not consist of a detailed bill reciting each section of Title 28. Pay attention. Congress only enacted the title. That Title 28 of the U.S. Code, enacted Judicial Code Judiciary, is revised, codified, and enacted into law. Only the title. Only the title. That's why it's called positive law title, not the subsections. President Truman did not sign a law called Title 28. Well, it didn't matter even if he did not sign an act entitled Judicial Act of 1948. What he signed was a law that to adopt by reference the editorial text written by the Office of Law Revision Council, not Congress itself. Just that simple. Those are not laws, people. If only you knew. All you got to do is call them on it. Where's the enactment clause in Title 28? It doesn't need an enactment clause. Okay. All you got to do is understand it. So this is what David Hinkson was talking about. This is what I discovered back in 1998. Didn't have the internet like we have now, and I didn't have access to the internet. I had to go to the actual books. Look, I gotta go because you hear that one right there. You see, it hasn't stopped since I started doing the video. It will keep doing that for the next hour. And so let me go stop playing with him. Hey, he's the one, okay? He's the one that I am gonna be more prone to focusing on and paying attention to because that's the favorite, okay? That's it, it happens with every set of animals I get. All right, all right, all right, I see you. And it will do that all day because we got it like that. We have a relationship. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, do your research. Do your research. And if you ever want to challenge the court, especially the federal district court, because they go by Title 28, then watch this. Wake up. Wake up. What is the enactment clause of Title 28? Question mark. Stop listening. The enactment clause can be found enacted by the 80th Congress, signed into law by Harris Truman. Here is the precise word being enacted by the Senate House Committee that Title 28 of the U.S. Code, entitled Judiciary, blah, 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 is revised, codified. See, again, they revised it, they codified it, and enacted it in the positive law. It may be cited as Title 28 of the U.S. Code. Watch this. Wake up. Wake up. What part of the legislative process is it for Congress to revise and codify? Because Congress doesn't codify any code, comma. Congress is only authorized to enact law, not code. Question mark. Stop listening. Constitution fact. Congress has no constitutional authority to codify law. Congress authority only to make all laws necessary and proper. Congress doesn't have the authority to make a code, a law. You see, you can't take a statute at large and codify it. Codification is editorial. They edited it. Did. Nobody gave them the authority to edit the law. Oh, by the way, guess who gave them the authority? They did. The Law Revision Council. They gave themselves the authority under U.S. Code. Wait, hold on. You getting on my nerves. You getting on my nerves. You better cut that out. All right. Sorry. We go through our little thing. So, yes, this is a pet peeve of mine. I gotta let you guys go. Thank you for taking the time, letting me talk about those individuals who've been around in the past. And yes, Mr. Miller. Okay, there are too many people out there who have been trying to help people for years, for years. Oh, I'm sorry. I got one more thing. One more person. I talk about him all the time, ladies and gentlemen. And this person is wake up, wake up. Ben Lowry. Stop listening, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Lowry. I look. Hold on. Give me a second. I I I just want you guys to know. You see,
This presentation is brought
January
to you
10th,
by
2012.
benlowry.com.
Ben Lowry.
Frank and Gwen, welcome to the call. How are you
That
both
is Ben
today?
Lowry.
Guys are fine. We're fine.
Usually,
So nice.
the art of passing the buck, common law trust, and asset protection. Ben Lowry, when he got started, he didn't know everything. He would even tell you that he didn't know everything. Ladies and gentlemen, but I tell you one thing about Mr. Ben. He tried. He was the one who introduced his videos, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies and gents. Every video, except for this one, he would introduce that. And I watched Ben Lowry, not because I was gathering information, but I liked the fact that Ben was trying. And then Ben Lowry and the Texas Express, not the same Ben Lowry. Ben Lowry, ladies and gentlemen, got cancer and stepped away. He didn't pass away. He stepped away. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Ben Lowry now. Okay, I just know that he decided to work on his health. Okay, and by working on his health, he was doing all right. The last I found out, but that was a couple of years ago. But Ben Lowry, give Ben his credit. Uh, Give me 1 second. Somebody put this up. So, company incorporated Ben Lowry. We'll see. I need to hear you introduce the video, Ben. No, this is advertisement. Give me 1 second. This says a couple of months ago, so he could be.
From our very first upload to this incredible milestone, 1 million videos. Together, we've built something extraordinary. Let's take a moment to
Hold on. Let's make sure it's the same Ben Lowry. Nope, can't be. Not enough videos. Yeah, 4 years ago, 5 months ago. This can't be. I'm apologize. Nope, not the same Ben Lowry. Okay. Yep, not the same Ben Lowry. Hold on. Not the same Ben Lowry. So I got to go back up to the actual video that we clicked on. This one right here. No, because even this is by somebody other than Ben. So I don't believe uh, he's doing videos anymore. Okay? I just know, like I said, a lot of respect for the young man. Okay? A lot of respect for Ben Lowry. And again, I would not have taken on the ladies and gentlemen and ladies, even though it comes from Wake Up, Anthony Hamilton, hyphen, coming from where I'm from. Stop listening. Now, YouTube is going to get me for this. Okay? So, I got the ladies and gentlemen from Jermaine Dupri and him and Anthony Hamilton coming together. There you go. So that plus the combination of Ben Lowry. That's why I give Ben Lowry his respect. So for those of you who don't know, I didn't just start doing this yesterday, and I don't just follow people just to be following people. I don't follow no one but the sun. No, not that son, your mother. Anyway, um, and thus what you hear me talking about is not something I got from someone else. But like David Hinkson, the comment he made in a video, it just sparked something, and I was able to take off from that. Look, he made a couple of comments that I know that he has watched at least one or two of my videos in the past because he made comments, and it's exactly the way I worded it. Because what you all don't realize, that's how I can tell when somebody's gotten information from me because I say it a certain way. I don't say it exactly the way the statute says it. I say it my way. Why? Because it was something that used to, if you guys know anything about rap, there used to be this thing called biting. And I loved UTFO when they did Bite It. Okay? Because so many people were taking words from other people's rhymes and using it in their rhymes, and it was called biting. And people were doing it all the time. So I used to do the fast rap like Twista. He was called Tongue Twister at the beginning. I used to do that to keep people from copying me. And so I do the same thing when it comes to these videos and the information I talk about. I say things a certain way purposely. Doesn't matter. You can go back and reformat it, but it's too late because I've already done too many videos talking about it. I just spoke with somebody yesterday who told me, man, I went back and looked at a couple of videos you did 5 years ago, and you were still talking about the same stuff you're talking about now. I know. Information is just regurgitated. You can't reinvent the wheel. The wheel was already there. All right, I gotta let you guys go because I'm gonna go put these guys outside. They're gonna get their first taste of cold air because the sun is coming out. We had cloud cover overnight, and we had those winter clouds. These were not the spring clouds. These were actually winter clouds. These were snow clouds. And those of you who live in the mountains, you know what I mean by snow clouds. We're getting that in May. Something ain't right this year. And the problem is, again, we were 90 degrees 2 days ago. I don't know what to tell y'all. We're going to be 98 degrees by Monday of next week. All right. So, got to let y'all go because I got to go kick somebody out of my house. No, not him, them. Especially that one right there that keeps. I told you it hasn't stopped. The whole video, it has not stopped. That's all it does. But that's my favorite, to be honest with you, because it has a personality, and I gotta go with that personality. Yeah, it says that we're gonna on Saturday, we're gonna be the same temperature as we were this morning. But after that, ooh, we're gonna be in the hundreds by next Tuesday. No, next Thursday, we're gonna be in the hundreds. All right, gotta let y'all go. Y'all has a good day. All right, come on back now and see us now. You heard? Not you hear. You heard?